Hi, this is Jonathan Rosenhead, the Torah and Psychotherapist. In this week's Torah and Psychology class, Matos-Masei, we read about the issue of making a shavua or a neder and not fulfilling the shavua or the neder. When you promise to do something and you don't follow through, you don't carry out what you did. There's the issue of bal yachel devoro, that you, in a way, that you desecrated your word, that you didn't fulfill your word. And I'd like to just try to understand what is the significance of this, because the Gemara, from one perspective, we can just look at the halacha in terms of how the Gemara in Nedarim, Shavuos and Nedarim goes through the different types of Nedarim, different types of promises or vows that you can make, and there's a lot of significance, there's a lot of weight to when a person makes a Shavuot or makes a Neder. And there's different isurim. One of them is, as the pasuk in this week's parsha describes, that there's an issur in itself of not fulfilling your word. There's also an issur of making a shavua, making a neder with the Shem Hashem, using the name of Hashem and desecrating the name of Hashem by making a shavua which is something which you don't fulfill, or whether it's a false shavua sheker, or a shavua shav, where it's something which you just wouldn't be able to fulfill anyway. So there's different isurim that all go in, and in a sense just give a picture of the weight and significance and the severity of making a shavua or making a neder and not fulfilling it. From a psychological perspective, this relates to we can say to the idea of being authentic with oneself, being connected with oneself, and being honest and true to who you are. And this can actually influence many aspects of one's life and can be expressed and manifest in different aspects. And certainly when someone makes a shavua or a neder, it could be because they're trying to, in a way, generate motivation and to ensure that the person carries out a certain act or a certain goal. It could be based on some sort of behavioral change that they're trying to make a shavua or a neder. But what lies beneath a shavua or a neder, and what actually gives weight to this issur in this week's parasha of bal yachel devoro, that you shouldn't desecrate your word, that you should make sure that you fulfill your word, is being authentic and honest. And from a therapeutic point of view, this is a core value, a core, in a sense, skill that a person has to develop. Because if they're trying to bring about some sort of a change, and in a sense, as we said, using a shavua or a neder, it's discussed by the Rishonim, it's discussed in the Gemara in Nedarim of why a person would make a shavua. It could be that, or make a neder, it could be because they want to use it to bring about a change. But ultimately, that change is not dependent on the shavua or the neder. It's based on a person's internal, inherent commitment and a sense of obligation and honesty. So when a person is trying to bring about change, they first of all need to be connected with what they're trying to achieve and to be honest and to be authentic to that and loyal to that goal and loyal to themselves. So when you desecrate, in a sense, when you don't fulfill a shavua or a neder, it's not just because you haven't fulfilled your word and it's, in a sense, a contradiction. Maybe it's hypocritical that you said you're going to do something and now you don't. There's a sense of conflict, which may be an internal conflict, but that internal conflict relates to something deeper. It relates to a sense of perhaps confusion and a lack of authenticity and honesty with oneself. And this actually came up in an interesting way with one of the clients that I saw in therapy. I was treating a teenage boy, and in the clinic where I work, there's a set amount of sessions that a person receives. There's 30 sessions that a person can take advantage and can utilize. They don't have to fulfill and go through all 30 sessions. It's their choice if they want to do all 30 sessions. And what happened with one teenage boy that I was treating is that we got to a certain point in the therapeutic process that he'd made significant improvement. He'd worked on what he was coming into therapy for. He'd reached to a point where seemingly you could say that he could finish therapy. He got what he wanted. And I actually brought that up in terms of as reflecting on the therapeutic process. And I said, we've got to a certain point where it's up to you how you'd like to proceed. Would you like to stop at this point? Would you like to continue? Do you feel that there's more work? That there's maybe other topics that you'd like to work on? And the way he answered was not what I expected. I thought that maybe he would say yes, he wants to finish, or he would come up and say no, there's more work that he wants to do. But he actually said the main reason why he wanted to continue and when he felt it was important is because from the beginning of the therapeutic process, at the beginning in the first session when I explained that there are 30 sessions, he had committed in his mind, he had committed to 30 sessions. And he said, I'm a person that goes by my word. And I said I'm going to finish 30 sessions, so I want to continue. And I was impressed with that. It turns out that we did continue and other topics and other issues came up that were important for him to work on, and he took advantage of the continued process, of the therapeutic process. But the fact that he pinpointed and said, I had made a promise in a sense to myself, I had made a commitment, and I don't want to go back on my word, that really reflected where he was holding in the sense of the honesty, the authenticity, the connection to himself, the connection to this process of change that he had committed to. So maybe that was actually the most accurate reason for continuing with therapy. He didn't want to go back on his word. He was being honest and authentic and committed to himself more than anything else. Have a great Shabbos and keep well.